Hello everyone, welcome to VLSI Point. So guys, VLSI Point has completed its 500 subscribers recently. So a big thanks to all my subscribers and viewers for their love and support. If you have not watched that 500 subscribers special video, then I'm requesting you to please watch that video. In that video, I have shared my journey, my school days, my college days, and finally my internship and my motivation behind this YouTube channel. What is my vision through that channel? All these things I have explained in that video. So please watch that video. So in today's video, we will talk about test bench writing. So most of the students have doubt while writing the test bench. They are not very clear with the idea of test bench writing. They are not clear like which command they should use, whether they should use $display or $monitor, whether they should use $finish or $stop. So these small things I will clear in today's video, and I'm damn sure after watching today's video you will feel very much confident in test bench writing. So first of all, we will see the learning objective of today's video. So today we will talk about the combinational design, how you can write the test bench for a combinational design, then test bench writing for the sequential design, and along with that clock generation and input synchronization. So basically we will see various ways of applying stimulus using examples, and we will see how we can write the test patterns and how we can apply the test pattern. So first of all, I have written here two different formats. Yes, two formats, one for the combinational circuit and one for the sequential circuit. So this is the first format. Whenever you have a very simple Verilog code for any combinational circuit, then you should follow this pattern. Actually, this pattern is very much simple, and if you are using this pattern while writing the test bench, then you will not skip any command like initialization or the variation or that $monitor or $finish. So you will not be confused that time which thing you should write first and which command you should use. So that's why I'm suggesting you to follow this pattern, because I personally follow these patterns always. Always I follow these patterns, and you should also follow, because once you started following these things, you will feel very confident, very much confident, I'm sure. The benefit of using these formats are your code will look very neat and clean. Commands will not be skipped that time while writing the test bench. And so first we will see this first format. So here module and then test bench name, whatever name you have to give, you can give there. And then input declaration, output declaration, then duty instantiation. After that, you have to use three initial blocks, first, second, and third. In first initial block, you have to initialize your variables. In second initial block, you have to vary those variables. You can give a fixed value, some set of values you can provide to input variables, or you can use some loops here, for loop or repeat. These types of loop you can use. And then in third initial block, you have to use $monitor and $finish command. Along with that, if you are using EDA playground, then $dump files and $dump vars. These two commands you can use here in the third initial block. So you can see if you are following this pattern, then nothing will be skipped and you are writing in a very proper format. First initialization, then variation, then you have to monitor all those values. If you are writing test bench for a sequential circuit, then clock generation part should be there. So take one more initial block for clock generation. So this format is for sequential circuit test bench. So module, then test name, after that input declaration, output declaration, duty instantiation. After that, take first initial block for clock generation, second initial block for initialization, third initial block for variation of the input variables, and then in last initial block you have to give $monitor, $finish. In case of EDA playground, you can give $dump files and $dump vars, and then end module. So I hope these two formats are now clear to you, and we will see some examples in today's video, and through those examples I will explain how you can write the test benches. So this is the first example. I have taken full adder Verilog code. This code is very simple and I hope this code is clear to all the students. So I'm not going to explain this. So simply here I have taken sum and carry 2 outputs and A, B, C in 3 inputs. Sum, the value is assigned A XOR B XOR C in, and to carry we are assigning A and B, B and C, C and A. So now we will see how we can write the test bench. So there are two different ways by which we can write the test bench for full adder circuit. First one is you can give some set of values to the input variables and then you can check whether your circuit is working properly or not. Actually, the thing is, what is the need of writing the test bench? Why one should write the test bench? Just to test whether your design is working correctly or not. Through the test bench, you can check whatever design you are written, whatever code you have written, that is working correctly or not. So basically, it is used to test your design. So we need to give different input values and whatever output is generated, by which we can check whether the circuit is working correctly or not. So here simply I have written module and then the test name, then reg type input, wire type output. Then it is duty instantiation. Here make sure this order should be same as that of the code. So here I have given this order sum carry A, B, C in. So while instantiating that, you need to give the same order. Then in first initial block, I have initialized all the variables. In second initial block, I have given some set of values A1, B0, C in 0, then A1, B1, C in 0. Like that only I have given some set of values with time delays. And then in third initial block, I have given $monitor and $finish. Now again, $monitor I have explained in very much detail in compiler directive video. So if you have not watched that video, then please watch that and clear the concept of compiler directives, because those compiler directives are used in test benches. So here in $monitor, first we have written this $time. Try to use this $time because whenever you will check your terminal, so in case of this $time, you will get at what simulation time you are getting what output. So try to use this $time. Then here we have given the values A, B, C in, then sum carry, and here we have given %B because we need to print the values in binary format, and then $finish and module. So in this manner we can write the test bench for the full adder circuit. This is the first way. Another way is that you can use the loop instead of giving some set of values. So again same thing, module, then test name, and then reg type input, wire type output. Only the difference is here we have taken integer I. Why this integer? Just for this for loop. That's why we have taken that integer. Then here we have done the instantiation part. Then in first initial block, initialization is done. In second initial block, we have applied a for loop. So in this for loop, I is varying from 1 to 8 and it is incremented. It is less than 8 actually. So 1 to 7 it will vary. And then it will be incremented by 1. Then this I value will be assigned to A, B and C in. And after each value, we have given this 10 time unit delay. And then in third initial block, we have given $monitor and $finish. So this is the another way by which you can write the test bench for full adder circuit. I hope both the ways are now clear to you, and it's better to use loops instead of giving some set of values to the input variables. Then the second example is JK flip-flop Verilog code. Most of the students were asking how we can write the test bench or how we can write the Verilog code for JK flip-flop and some flip-flop conversion questions. So that's why I have taken this example. So here I have written module and then JK flip-flop. This is the module name, and then Q, QB, J, K and clock. Then input is J, K, clock, and reg type output Q and another output QB. Then I have taken some parameters: hold, reset, set and toggle. For hold it is 0001 1011. Without parameter also you can write the code. It is completely your choice. Then assign QB equals to negation of Q. Then in this always block, always at pause H clock, we have applied case statement. Case J comma K. Now we are applying the case statement in this J and K variable. So in case of hold, we have to assign Q to the output Q. In case of reset, we have to assign 0 to this Q. Now hold means what? JK value should be 0, 0. In case of reset, JK value is 0, 1. In case of set, it is 1, 0. And in case of toggle, it is 1, 1. So in case of toggle, we are assigning negation of Q to that output Q. And then end case and module. So in this manner, you can write the Verilog code for the JK flip-flop. Now we can see how this test bench could be written for the JK flip-flop. So module and then JK flip-flop TB, reg type input we have taken, wire type output, then the DUT instantiation. After that, JK flip-flop is a sequential circuit, so we need to generate clock. So here in this first initial block, I have generated the clock. Now what is the way how you can generate the clock? So first you need to give some value. So clock equals to 1 tick B0. Initial value we have given 0. Then forever #5 clock equals to negation of clock. So after each 5 time units, this clock will be negated. It will be toggled. So here we have generated the clock. Then now in second initial block, I have initialized the value. So J and K, I have given 0, 0 to both the variables. And then in third initial block, I have given some set of values with time delay 10 time unit. And then in third initial block, I have given $monitor and $finish command. One more thing guys, what value you are giving here in $finish, that you have to make sure it should not be less than the time delay which you are providing here. It should be actually more than all the delay values you have given in the third initial block, because if you have given suppose 60 or 70 time unit delay here, total delay I am talking about, and here you have written #50. So all set of values will not be applied in that condition, and before that your simulation will be finished. So make sure this delay for the $finish command, it should not be less than these time delays. Then it is the terminal output. So you can check from here whether we are getting correct output or not. And don't be confused with these terminal outputs. I am giving just for the understanding purpose. Now it is your task to write the code and test bench by your own, and then test whether you are getting correct output or not. This is the third example, which is 4-bit synchronous loadable binary up-down counter. So most of the students have doubt how they can write the Verilog code for the counter circuit, because we have different categories in counters. Up counter, down counter, up down counter, then loadable counter, synchronous counter, asynchronous counter, different categories are there. So that's why I have chosen this example. Actually, I am trying to cover most of the topics through these examples so that students can clear their doubt. Whatever small doubts they have, they can clear through these examples. So here I have written module, then the module name, here port declaration part, and then DIN, which is 4-bit input. Then other inputs are clock, reset, load, and up down. And then reg type count output I have taken, which is of 4 bits. Then in always at pause edge clock, different conditions are there. What happened if reset is high? What happened if load signal is high? What happened if this up down is high? And what happened if it is low? So all the scenarios we have to cover. So it's better to use if else statement here. So here I have written if reset. If reset signal is high, then we need to assign 0 to this count. Else if load signal is high, so that time this DIN value will be loaded to this output count. If this up down signal is high, so it will perform up counting, and if it is low, then it will perform the down counting. So here I have written if up down, then count equals to count plus 1, else it is count equals to count minus 1, and then end module. So in this manner you can write the Verilog code for up down counter. Now we can see the test bench here. So simply reg type input, wire type output, instantiation. Then in first initial block, clock generation part is there. In second initial block, I have given some values here. This is basically for the initialization. Then in third initial block, I have given different set of values to reset, load, and up down, and this input DIN. And then in last initial block, $monitor and $finish. One more thing I want to just make it clear. Whenever you are writing a test bench, try to cover all the functionality of your Verilog code. In advanced Verilog, we have a topic called code coverage. So in that, what we have to check whether the test bench is covering all the functionality of the code or not. How much coverage it is providing, and the meaning is that only. How much part is covered in that. So whatever functionality is there in your code, in your circuit, all those things should be covered in the test bench. So here it is reset, then load, then high value of up down and low value of up down. So we need to write a test bench which can cover all these scenarios. So that should be a perfect way of writing the test bench. So here I have given the terminal output. So you can see, first of all, we just make this reset signal high. So the output will be 0 that time because the circuit will be reset at that time. Then I have given load equals to high. So if load is high, so earlier the value was 0, and after giving this load signal high, the input, this D in input is loaded. So here the count value becomes 4. After that, this reset is 0, load is 0, and we have given this up down signal. So if this up down signal is high, that time this counter will perform up counting operation. So you can see here the count is incremented, 4, 5, 6, 7. These values are incrementing. And if up down is low, that time the counter performs down counting. So here values are decrementing from 10 to 9, 8, 7, like that the values are decrementing. So here you can see I have covered all the aspect: up counting, down counting, reset and load. And in that manner only you need to write a Verilog code test bench. Now this is the last example of today's video, which is a D flip-flop Verilog code. So this code is very simple. We have taken input D clock reset and reg type output Q and another output QB. We are assigning this QB with value negation of Q. Then in always at posage clock, if reset signal is high, then we are assigning 0 to this Q, else input D to this Q. So this is a very simple code of D flip-flop. Now we will see the test bench writing. The special thing is that here I have used task while writing the test bench. So whenever there is a complex design or a bigger circuit, that time it's better to use task while writing the test bench. It will give very kind of clean look to your code. It will be very manageable, and you will not be confused which thing you have to write first, what is second. You need not to be confused there. The simple way is that use task while writing the test bench. So here I have written module, then module name, reg type input, wire type output, and then instantiation. After that, in first initial block, we have generated clock. Then I have defined a task here. The name of this task is initialize. So this is the format of writing the task. So task, then task name, then in begin end, I have given two values, D equals to 0, reset equals to 0. So this is my task to initialize. That means it is performing initialize operation. Then I have written another task named stimulus. And here I have given two parameters I and J here. So whenever you are calling the task, you can give argument here. Okay, so here this I value is assigning to D and J value is assigning to reset. And then in third initial block, we are simply calling all the tasks which we have defined. So first this initialize, what this task will do, it will initialize the variables. Then stimulus, I am calling this stimulus with argument 1, 1, then with 1, 0, then 0, 0 and 1, 0. So in this manner you can give different arguments to this task stimulus. And then in last initial block, $monitor and $finish end module. And this is the terminal output. You can check whether you are getting correct output or not. So I hope today's video is clear to all the students. If you have any doubt, you can tell me in the comment section. And I hope you will follow those two formats of writing the test bench, one for the combinational circuit and one for the sequential circuit. Those formats are very useful if you are a beginner, if you are just starting learning a Verilog code, then it is recommended to use these formats. It's not a hard and fast rule to use that format only, but it will help you a lot. You will not getting confused while writing the test bench. Things will be very much clear. If any other guy is reading your code, that time also your code will be very clear, very much understand. If you have not joined our Telegram group till now, then join that group. And if you have liked today's video, then like the video, subscribe the channel and share the videos as much as possible. So thanks for watching.